Even the most carefully laid plans can unravel in the most spectacular ways. My wife's affair partner dumped her right after her divorce, and now she's left with nothing, alone and broke. Meanwhile, I've moved on. I'm a 36-year-old man, and for the past 5 years, I was married to a woman I believed to be loving and devoted. I thought we had a strong relationship, one built on trust and mutual dreams. When I first met Mary, she seemed perfect, warm, kind, and someone I instantly connected with. She never struck me as the kind of person who could betray me so cruelly. But I was wrong. Before meeting her, I was always hesitant about commitment. I never wanted to be tied down. But she changed that for me. She made me believe in marriage, in building a life together. We even had big plans. We were preparing to start a business together. Mary had always dreamed of owning a bakery. She loved baking almost as much as she despised her current job. I wanted to support her, so we spent years planning, saving, and working toward turning that dream into reality. It was supposed to be something we built together, a future we shared. But it turns out she was never really invested in our future. At first, the signs were subtle. She became distant, always glued to her phone, constantly making excuses to go out and coming home late. I tried to brush off my suspicions, telling myself I was being paranoid. But then, something even stranger happened. Out of nowhere, she became overly affectionate. It wasn't normal. It felt excessive. Unprompted, I love yous, sudden intimacy, breakfast in bed, things she hadn't done in years. Instead of making me feel loved, it made me uneasy. It was as if she was trying to silence her own guilt. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The affection disappeared entirely. She withdrew even further, and before I knew it, we felt more like strangers than husband and wife. At that point, I knew something was seriously wrong. Whether or not it was an affair, something had shifted between us, and I needed to find out the truth. I wasn't about to ask her outright. If she was cheating, she'd just deny it and be more careful. I needed proof. I'm not the type to go through my wife's phone or emails, but when your gut tells you that your marriage is crumbling, normal rules don't apply. One night, when she was deep asleep, I quietly took her phone off the charger. When I tried to unlock it, I hit my first red flag. She had changed the passcode. That had never happened before. We had shared the same passcode for years, ever since we got engaged. I tried again, but it was clear she had locked me out. That alone was suspicious enough. But when I tried using fingerprint unlock, I discovered that she had removed my access entirely. Now, I knew she was hiding something. I sat on my side of the bed, mind racing, until an idea hit me. Carefully, I moved to her side, where she was sleeping soundly. One of her hands was resting near her face, her thumb slightly turned outward. Holding my breath, I pressed her thumb gently to the sensor. The phone unlocked. I quickly retreated to the bathroom and locked the door behind me. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through her messages, but nothing could prepare me for what I found. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave me for a man named Shane. Worse, they had been scheming behind my back for months, plotting how to take the business and money we had worked so hard to build. Mary had checked out of our marriage already. She was just sticking around until the bakery launched. Then, she planned to fight for in the divorce and use it to fund her new life with Shane. I felt sick. To her, I wasn't even a husband. I was a stepping stone, a means to an end. I scrolled further, reading their messages in disbelief. They spoke in disgusting detail about their affair, but what hurt even more was how they talked about me. Shane encouraged her to play the long game, to be patient until the business was successful before making her move. He assured her that I was too soft to fight for it. Mary agreed. She told him that I would give her whatever she asked for, that I was weak, that taking everything from me would be easy. The rage I felt in that moment was unlike anything I had ever experienced. They thought I was a fool. They thought I would just roll over and let them take everything I had built. They were wrong. The first thing I did was gather every shred of evidence I could. I exported their entire chat history, emailed it to myself, and saved every incriminating photo and screenshot. I even documented their phone call logs. Once I had everything, I walked straight back to the bedroom and shook Mary awake. She startled, blinking in confusion. "What's wrong?" she mumbled. I tossed her phone onto the bed and told her to take a look for herself. Even in the dim light, I saw her face go pale. She realized what happened the moment she saw her unlocked phone. She stammered, trying to deny it, but I cut her off. I told her I had seen everything. Her affair with Shane. Their plans to rob me blind. The way they mocked me behind my back. She opened her mouth a few times as if searching for an excuse, but nothing came out. I kept going, my voice rising. I demanded to know how she could betray me like this. For him, of all people. I asked her if she thought I was so pathetic that I'd just hand over my life's work to her and her lover. At this point, tears started falling down her face. She shook her head frantically and tried to backpedal. "It wasn't serious," she sobbed. "It was all just a joke." A joke. That was her excuse. I nearly laughed at how pathetic it was. I told her there was no fixing this, no working through it. Her little long game had just come to an abrupt end. We were done. She started wailing, begging me not to leave, swearing it was all a mistake. But I was done listening. I turned my back on her, grabbed a spare blanket, and left her sobbing in the bedroom. By morning, she was gone. And as for Shane, he wasn't there to pick up the pieces. As soon as the divorce was finalized, he dumped her. Turns out, he wasn't interested in her, without the promise of my money. Now she's alone, broke, and I moved on. The next morning she left, but not without a fight. She didn't just walk out quietly. She pleaded, begged, and tried everything in her power to get me to change my mind. But I was done. I had reached my limit. After everything she had put me through, I couldn't even feel safe with her under the same roof. I hadn't slept a wink the night before, my mind racing with thoughts of her betrayal. She didn't bother telling me where she was going, but I had a pretty good idea. It wasn't hard to guess that she was running straight into the arms of her affair partner. I told myself I didn't care, that I was ready to be rid of her. But deep down, the sting of betrayal was still fresh. I knew that if I allowed myself to dwell on everything that had happened, I might break down. So I refused to sit still. Instead, I threw myself into action, determined to protect myself from any further damage. My first priority was finding a lawyer. I wasn't going to let her walk away without facing the consequences. After searching, I found one who came highly recommended, and we began discussing my options. I even explored the possibility of pressing fraud charges against her and her affair partner. After all, they had been planning to manipulate and exploit me financially. While I wasn't sure if I could make it stick, I was willing to try. No matter what, I wasn't about to let her get away with everything she had done. She had fully expected me to just laugh off the fact that she had been plotting against me, that I would simply accept her betrayal and let her walk away with what was mine. But she had underestimated me. I wasn't going to roll over and let her win. And I wasn't alone. My lawyer assured me that while fraud charges might be difficult to pursue, since she hadn't actually managed to steal anything, the courts would likely side with me in the divorce. That was enough for me. I was ready to go all in. Without wasting any time, I officially filed for divorce, citing infidelity as the primary reason. The moment Mary received the papers, she called me, her voice laced with desperation. She refused to sign, insisting that we needed to talk things out. But as far as I was concerned, there was nothing left to discuss. I told her outright that she was only making things harder on herself. She couldn't stop the divorce from happening, but she could make the process smoother by just signing the papers. Despite my warning, she dragged it out. After a few days, I called her again, only for her to try to manipulate me into a conversation. The third time it happened, I realized what she was doing. She wasn't refusing to sign out of principle. She just wanted to keep me on the phone, to make me talk to her. So I played along. I asked her how she was holding up, and she jumped at the chance, pouring out her emotions. She told me how hard everything had been on her, how she was struggling to sleep, how her world felt like it was falling apart. I had to choke down a bitter laugh. Was she seriously trying to paint herself as the victim? After everything she had done? I let her ramble for a while before cutting straight to the point. Are you staying with Shane? The silence on the other end told me everything I needed to know. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head as she tried to decide whether or not to lie. Maybe she thought I had already found out somehow. When she finally spoke, her voice was quiet, filled with guilt or maybe shame. She admitted that, yes, she was staying with him, but only because she had nowhere else to go. I called her out immediately. She had options. Her siblings, her friends, even her mother, who lived less than 2 hours away. Yet she had chosen to shack up with her lover. And now, after betraying me, she had the nerve to ask me to take her back? She stammered, trying to explain herself, but I cut her off. I don't care, I told her flatly. You and Shane are adults. Do whatever you want. Just sign the damn papers. I heard her start to cry, but I wasn't interested in listening to her sob story. I hung up before she could drag me any further into her mess. The next day, she finally signed. As the divorce process moved forward, I felt a weight lifting off my shoulders. I was finally free. When the day came that everything was finalized, it was just as satisfying as I had imagined. The court didn't look kindly on adultery and financial scheming, so she walked away with almost nothing. The money we had saved for bakery was divided based on contribution, meaning I got nearly all of it. Their grand plan to steal my business had backfired spectacularly. I didn't bother keeping up with Mary after the divorce, but she made sure to reach out to me, drunk and miserable just a few nights later. She slurred through her words, rambling about how she didn't need my money and how she and Shane were going to be fine. According to her, Shane was a smart guy and they had big plans. I didn't believe a word of it. A happy person doesn't get drunk and call their ex to brag. She was clearly spiraling. I didn't argue with her. I just said, "That's nice, Mary," and went about my day. After that, she left me alone for a while. Maybe she realized how pathetic she sounded, or maybe she was actually trying to make things work with Shane. Either way, I didn't care. I was too busy moving forward. Then I got an update from a friend. Mary wasn't doing well. She was struggling financially and had become a bitter, angry person. People started distancing themselves from her because she couldn't stop complaining about how she had lost everything. The most satisfying news? She and Shane were over. It turned out that Shane had never actually cared about her. He had only been interested in what she could bring to the table financially. When he realized that she had walked away from the divorce with nothing, he lost interest. She had played the long game for him, hoping to steal my business and start a life with him. But when she failed, he kicked her to the curb. A part of me wished I could have made him pay for what he did. Some fraud charges, maybe. But in the end, karma had done the job for me. He was nothing more than a male gold digger who had ruined my marriage for an easy payout. And now, he had moved on to his next target, leaving Mary with nothing. It wasn't long before she tried to contact me again. My friend had warned me she might, and sure enough, she called a few times. But I didn't answer. I had no interest in whatever sob story she wanted to tell me now. She had made her bed. Now she had to lie in it. After the divorce, I focused on rebuilding my life. With the savings in my hands, I put my energy into starting a business that aligned with my passions. It wasn't an overnight success, but the process of building something for myself was incredibly rewarding. My friends kept me busy, made sure I wasn't dwelling on the past, and helped me move on. Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Mary and Shane got exactly what they deserved. She went from scheming to steal my business to having absolutely nothing, and I couldn't have asked for a better ending. What would you have done in my situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. See you next time.